Hi, my name is Ruth Cotter, and I'm delighted to be here with you today. My preferred pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm here today to talk about how the value of belonging at work is so important, how we can continue to engage and operate around a highly motivated workforce is something that we at AMD feel very strongly about. I'm super lucky. I have a very interesting job. I get to lead our worldwide marketing, human resources, and investor relations functions, which is quite amazing because I get to look inside and outside of our company every day as we think about how to engage with our stakeholders. You know, as we think about the company in particular, how belonging is defined, it's been significantly challenged in this current pandemic situation, and some might argue it even has been redefined. And I'm going to spend some time with you today to walk you through where we've come from on our journey of belonging as a company, and where we're heading moving forward, but also how that sense of belonging and inclusiveness across the company was truly tested in this pandemic situation. So let's start with, why does belonging even matter? You know, we've all felt, I think, as human beings, it's within our DNA to feel a connection with each other. We spend a lot of time in our lives engaging with other human beings, and that's no different in the workplace. So we do feel this inherent need to belong, and it's fundamental to our physical health, but also our mental health, as in particular, again, as we think about how that's exaggerated in this pandemic situation where there's a lot of conversation around mental health and well-being. Belonging also makes people feel very safe, as we think about having trust in an environment where we can be our wholesome selves on a daily basis. And we at AMD think that's really important in the workplace, that employees feel comfortable being who they really are and not needing to have a facade of who they believe others think they should be or act how others think they should act. And it really, as we think about belonging and taking it that step further, as a technology company, we're all about innovation. We're all about solving the world's toughest problems. And the happier and safer and more motivated and engaged our employees are, we believe it promotes significant innovation and great and differentiated ideas that our employees can bring to the table to advance where the company is headed. And as we bring all that together as a collective, why does belonging matter? It matters because it allows each and every one of us to be our true selves and to be authentically ourselves. And it's not just about us, right? This is a corporate enterprise, as we think about the roles and jobs that many of us exercise on a daily basis. And belonging is really good for business as we think about what it brings to the table. For employees who feel included, for employees who operate in a diverse environment and have that connection and engagement and deep engagement with their colleagues and peers, you'll see just from these statistics alone that that sense increases job performance when employees feel like they are very, very well situated in the workplace. You'll also see, as data shows us regularly, the turnover actually reduces of employees. They prefer to stay in the workplace longer. Believe it or not, I have been at AMD 18 years. I never dreamed I'd be in the company for 18 years, but it is a culture and an environment and a series of colleagues that I truly feel I fit in with, and I can bring my whole self to work every day. And I'm not looking outside of the company for any other opportunities. And there are many like-minded people, which is very good for the stability of the enterprise. And then you also see reduction in people who are not feeling their wholesome well-being self, whether that's physically or mentally. So you also see with stronger cultures of belonging that employees take less sick time off. And you also see a significant increase in employees recommending their place of work to many others. So there's many benefits if we just think about the enterprise. But let's just take a look at how AMD embarked on this journey. It's been 5 years in the making, so this does not happen overnight as you're trying to really shift and instill a sense of belonging across your culture. 5 years ago, AMD was a loss-making company. We were not making money. Our market share in the markets in which we operated was significantly low, and we really needed to refocus our employee base. And you typically hear companies talking about, well, here's our grand new strategy and here's where we're going to move the company forward. What we chose to do was to focus our employee base around what we were not doing, what it is we were specializing on as a company moving forward, which essentially took license away from some folks who were operating within the company to their own agenda and their own strategy. So a very important thing as you think about starting on your journey of belonging is to focus employees around a common set of values and principles. And then it allows those who might not fit in or might not feel like they belong in that environment to self-select out. We also initiated the celebration of some key behaviors that we believe define AMD and our value set and the mission that we have set forth in the company. And then we harnessed complementary strengths as we think about attitudes, as we think about beliefs, and how we integrate those into the overall value set of the company. So again, we're clearly defined in focus. We know what behaviors are appreciated and celebrated within the company. And then we are really harnessing the strengths of the collective of over 12,000 employees worldwide. And the principles of AMD are actually founded, we're a 51-year-old company, and it's founded on the shoulders of our founder, a gentleman called Jerry Sanders. And when he began AMD, he predicated the company on a focused and mantra of people first. People first. Products and profits will follow. So we've always held that within our ethos for the company. And we've built this belonging toolbox that I wanted to share with you here today of some of the things that really work for us. We have harnessed employee resource groups. These are employee-led groups across the company where collectively minded, common-minded employees come together, whether that's activated around values, beliefs, interests. And these interest groups have really generated a lot of excitement across the company, and I'll share some more about that here in a few minutes. In addition, the manager and employee relationship is very important. As a senior leader in a company, I can't reach and touch all our 12,000 employees. And what is really important as we think about that fit within a company is that the manager and the employee have that sympathy together, and that engagement is something that we spend a lot of time focusing on. And with that comes very clear expectations. There's no confusion. It's important there's no confusion. It's important that all the teams are activated around priorities and what problems we're solving and how we can do that together through innovation. So that common purpose leads at AMD something we call the next 5%. We believe, and we're collectively activated around the thought, that even if we're doing the same thing on a daily basis, whatever you touch today, you should leave 5% better than you did yesterday. So we're a learning organization. We're commonly activated around learning, we're commonly activated around solving problems, and we're commonly activated around doing things even better and stretching ourselves. And in that stretch, we spend a lot of resources and effort around leadership development. We believe very strongly in the next generation of leaders, and we spend a lot of time and effort making sure that we are growing our leaders to become even better leaders and teaching them in some of the key attributes that are so important to the culture that we have driven in the company. And diversity of thought and bringing that diversity of thought to the table engages more ideas coming from different directions, a very collaborative environment, the whiteboarding of voice. And this is where our ERGs lend great strength, and we consider them to be part of our secret sauce at AMD. You'll see we have a variety of different interest groups across the company, and where they're just not individuals as a set of independent ERGs, but many of them harness collective synergies and engagement. So for example, our LGBTQ plus organization called Pride, recently partnered with the AMD Women's Forum and the Go Green organization and Salute for our military focused employees. And with that, they were able to bring a broad collective globally together around many activities that advanced the company moving forward. So to go back to our theme of belonging being good for business, guess what? 5 years later, AMD last year, 2019, reported record revenue. We're now reporting a profit last year, and we expect to continue to do that moving forward. We reduced the debt of the company. We increased market share. We were the top performing stock in the S&P 500 and SOX index for the last 2 years, and we increased our market cap by $50 billion. How amazing is that? And I can stand here today and share that the journey we've been on in the last 5 years, without cultivating this journey of diversity and inclusiveness, but belonging, has been key to that journey. But as I mentioned earlier, along comes the pandemic, and it is something nobody has ever experienced, and you have to believe it challenged our focus of belonging in the company. And if there was anything that was going to test it, it was going to be a global pandemic for sure. So we are very pleased that actually the depth of the belonging nature across our company allowed us to transition actually very seamlessly into a virtual remote world that was quite tested by everybody having to work from home and not in the physical office. And we were also very conscious that we're now communicating very openly with employee families, right? Any video blogs that we do or written communications, because you're sitting at home working, are likely being viewed and engaged by the families. So we've been thinking about how we're also effectively communicating with them, and we've become broader in our sense and understanding of belonging. We've rallied our organization of local leaders all over the world. We have many sites in North America, in Europe, in APJ, and we've really rallied our leaders to ensure that our employees feeling like they're fitting in is attributed at a local level, not just coming from a headquarters in the US. We've reached deep into our communities. It's not just employees feeling like they belong within the company. We owe and must give back to the communities in which we operate to ensure that they too feel that level of engagement across our effort and contributions back to the community. And then, as you know, we have these secret sauce ERGs that we continue to leverage. And it really has allowed us to maintain trust, transparency, and imperatively honesty in all our communications, particularly in an environment that has a backdrop of a lot of changing protocols and advice and how to manage health and safety in a pandemic world. The sense of belonging and our deep culture has encouraged employees to look to AMD as a voice of reason and a voice of trust in this pandemic situation, and we don't take that lightly. So as we think about today and this short journey we've gone together as we think about fostering a sense of belonging, I'd leave you with these thoughts. It is without doubt a human relationship. People first. It can be people first. It is perfectly fine to be people first, and I encourage you to think about it potentially being your secret sauce when you put your people first. And that drives the leadership mindset and to ensure that your employees see how invested you are in them fitting in them being comfortable, in them being able to share common values and to be their whole self, because you're playing to your strengths. What are your strengths in your company, and how can you play to those for your employee base to enhance and drive and grow your performance as a company? And as you reflect on that, it is very important to measure satisfaction, engagement, and performance of your employee base. You have to set metrics, and you need to measure your progress against those metrics to assess whether you need to course correct or pivot. And no matter what, whether you're talking to one of your employees, your leadership team, or the entire company or stakeholder groups, what matters is being authentically you, being comfortable being authentically you, Because when you are and when you can be, you really are the best that you can be. And when you're the best that you can be, you perform the best that you could possibly perform. And that's what I would really encourage you to think about and reflect on in these moments we're sharing together today. So my advice to you is dive right in. We dove right in 5 years ago. We've been on a journey ever since then, and we continue to foster a deep sense of engagement across our employee base. And I really, really encourage and delight in you being able to do that too. So with that, I'd like to thank you for being with me on this journey today. And I wish everybody the very best in your journey of belonging.